आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. With the abundant blessings of our Periva, we have been going through Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are in chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. We came up to sloka number 50 yesterday. In the second chapter, as we have seen, Bhagavan started his teaching with guiding Arjuna and then went on to explain Atma Vidya, Atma Jnana, in a fair amount of detail. Then he touched upon Sudharma Paripalana. And then he went into Karma Yoga. And he has explained the Karma Yoga in fair amount of detail. Though Karma Yoga is going to be taken up again in chapter 3. In fair amount of detail, he has covered Karma Yoga. Now he is continuing with that. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi halam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchante ramayam. Manishinaha, people who are onto this path. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva. Buddhi yukta hi karmajam phalam tyaktva. Buddhi yukta hi, they resort to buddhi. Buddhi yoga. What is buddhi yoga? We have defined using three concepts. One is renouncing doership, ahankara. Second is Ishvara arpita buddhi, all actions to be dedicated to Ishvara. Third is no looking for fruit. So these three are the defining points of buddhi yoga. So if you attach yourself to buddhi yoga, karmajam phalam tyaktva, out of the 3 points, one is being emphasized here. You renounce the fruit born out of the karma which you are doing, karmajam phalam. If you do that, janma bandha vinirmuktaha, you are relieved from the bondage of rebirth. Relieved from the bondage of rebirth, janma bandha vinirmuktaha. Anamayam padam gachanti. Amayam is disease. Anamayam is healthy, disease free. Samsara is the greatest disease for all of us. All great people have described samsara as a disease. In fact, in Sadhana Panchakam, Shankara says this hunger, Kshud vyadhihi chikitsi yadam. Kshud is a vyadhi. Hunger is a disease. So, off and down, you satisfy that disease by applying the medicine. This is what he says. That is how you should treat hunger. The way we treat our body, the way we, the approach, the mental makeup that we should cultivate. That is how it is sadhana, isn't it? So he says, you will reach a disease-free state. When will you reach a disease-free state? When you get out of the cycle of samsara. So that padam, that state, anamayam padam gachanti, they reach. So here, Shankara has brought out one very important point, very important point, which is peculiar to Shankara's philosophy. That is Jivan Mukti. Now, when he says Anamayam Padam Gachanti, Janmabandha Vinirmuktaha, it does not mean after you die. This is the interpretation of Shankara. Even when you are alive, even when you are in this body, you will attain moksha. That is called Jivan Mukti. This concept of Jivan Mukti, which is there in the Upanishads, has been explicitly and nicely brought out by Shankara in his Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta philosophy, which he is now mentioning here. He says, Phalam Tyaktva Parityajya Manishinaha Jnaninaha Bhutva. they become jnanis. That is not mentioned in the shloka. That is added by him. Manishinaha padam gachanti, he says here. But here he says, Manishinaha jnaninaha bhutva. Because unless you get jnana, you cannot get out of this cycle. So they become jnanis by following this path. Janmabandha vinirmuktaha. जीवन्तः एव जन्मबन्धात् विनिर्मुक्ताः सन्तः. जीवन्तः एव, even when you are alive, you get out of this bondage. Then मोक्षाख्यं पदम् अनामयं गच्छन्ति सर्वोपद्रवरहितम् इति अर्थः. सर्व उपद्रवरहितम्, you get rid of all sufferings connected with samsara. So that is the fruit, final fruit. Though you are not looking for the fruit, that fruit is given to you by Ishvara because you dedicated all your actions to Ishvara. Ishvara goes out of his way to confer jnana on you, jnaninaha bhutva, and he gives mukti even while living in body. Such a compassion from Ishvara, provided you follow this path rigorously. यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदम् श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च. How this happens? This process of Jivan Mukti, because we have jumped phalam tyaktva janma bandha vinirmukta. You abandon, renounce the fruit, then you have become eligible for moksha. Is it such a quick step? So he is explaining that. यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिः व्यतितरिष्यति. बुद्धि, when your intellect, यदा बुद्धिः मोहकलिलं, the dirt of moha. Moha is described as a dirt. Kaulushyam, that is how he explains, Shankara. Mohatmakam aviveka-rupam kaulushyam. Lack of discrimination, that is delusion. That is the dirt in your mind that your intellect crosses. Vyatitarishyati, tarishyati, vyatitarishyati. It crosses properly. Tarishyati is crossing an ocean, crossing a water body. That is tarishyati, tarana. Vyatitarishyati, you cross properly. You don't come back to it again. You cross safely. What you are crossing? You are crossing moha kalilam, the dirt called delusion, which was occupying your mind all along. You have got rid of it by purifying your mind. When you purify your mind, the impurity will go. So what was the purifying mechanism? Karma yoga, phalam tyaktva. So when you did that, you have crossed the state of dirty mind. Delusion is the dirt. Tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Then what happens? When you cross this dirt, then your mind should get purified, isn't it? When you only in a purified mind, Ishvara can confer jnana, not an impure mind. So he says, tada, when you have crossed this dirt in the mind, nirvedam gantasi. Nirvedam is vairagya, detachment. That is called nirvedam. Vairagyam. In fact, nirvedam is interpreted as vairagyam directly by Shankara. So that detachment, you will attain ganta asi. You will attain vairagya. Viveka and vairagya are the first steps in jnana yoga. You have stuck to the path of viveka. How did you stick to the path of viveka? By renouncing the fruit, by remembering Ishvara always. That is why Karma Yoga is not to be distinguished from Bhakti, that he is going to explain later on. Though we are calling Bhakti Yoga as a separate path. Actually, it is not a separate path. In fact, only two classes of people we are discussing right from beginning, and third chapter we are going to discuss that again. So there are no three classes of people, only two classes of people. One is Karma Yogis, and the other is Jnana Yogis. There is no separate class called Bhakti Yogis. this bhakti movement, when it started in a big way, they made it appear as if it's a different path just for emphasizing bhakti. But bhakti is there even in Karma Yoga. When you have dedicated to all your actions and fruits to Ishvara, actually, what, in fact, he is going to explain that later on. Shankara is going to explain that later on in greater detail. What greater bhakti is there? So he says, that is Viveka. When Viveka is mature, then automatically Vairagya comes. That is what he says. Viveka, Vairagya are the first two steps in Jnana Marga. Tada Gantasi Nirvedam, you attain Vairagya, detachment. In what? Shrotavyasya, Shrutasya cha. Vairagya in what? That also is explaining. Shrotavyasya, Shrutasya cha. Shrutasya means what you have already heard. Shrotavya, what you are going to hear. Because you are still holding the body. Hearing does not mean just hearing, it means experience. In fact, Madhusudana Bharati, he explains nicely this particular phrase. He says, Srotavyasya Shrutasya cha. I think I mentioned Madhusudana Saraswati has written a beautiful commentary, one of the many commentators, called Gudhartha Deepika, a light which brings out hidden meanings. Gudhartha Deepika. That is the title of his commentary. There he says, द्रष्टव्यस्य दृष्टस्य च ज्ञातव्यस्य ज्ञातस्य च गृहीतस्य ग्राह्यस्य च वस्तुनः मिथ्यात्वमेव विज्ञाय निर्वेदं वैराग्यं सर्वत्र अलम बुद्धि लक्षणम. See how nicely he says. This Shrotavyasya Shrutasya cha has been interpreted like this. Drashtavyasya Drishtasya cha. What you have seen, what you are going to see. What you have known, what you are going to know. Jnatavyasya Jnatasya cha. Grihidasya Grashyasya cha. What you have caught hold of, what you are going to catch hold of in future. Vastunaha, all these objects which have caught your attention in the past and which are going to catch your attention in the future, Vastunaha, Mithyatmameva Vijnaya, they are all false. All objects other than Ishvara are false. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, that is the philosophy of Shankara, isn't it? So he says, when Jagat is Mithya, when the entire universe is false, so what objects that you are going to catch hold of and you already caught hold of? This includes knowledge. Knowledge that you have acquired, knowledge that you are going to acquire through various sense organs. That is the hidden, direct, indirect meaning. So, all that knowledge belongs to samsara because I think we mentioned earlier in Chandogya Upanishad, there is a very beautiful story of Narada approaching Sanat Kumara for Brahma Vidya. Then first question Sanat Kumara asked was, what do you know now? Then he brought out a big list, very big list, all Vedas, Vedangas, Shastras, including Jyotisha, etc., etc. Narada reeled out that list. Then in one sentence, Sanat Kumara summed up. He said, whatever you listed is Apara Vidya, is inferior Vidya. What is Para Vidya, what is superior Vidya, you have not acquired. By knowing which, you know everything. That is the definition. By knowing that, you know everything else. You have known everything else, but the basic thing you have not. That is how he started. Then Narada said, yes, I have come to you only for that. You are the teacher. Please teach me Brahma Vidya. Then he teaches him Brahma Vidya. So, all this Vidya, including Vedas, are Mithya only. Mithyatmameva Vijnaya. Knowing that all this is false, this does not mean that they are to be discarded. No, all that is required. Those are the steps by which we have come. But having reached the top, you don't need them again. Mithyatmameva Vijnaya, Nirvedam Vairagyam, Sarvatra Alam Buddhi Lakshanam. Sarvatra Alam Buddhi Lakshanam means the sense of adequacy. Alam Buddhi means sense of enough. Enough is enough. I don't need anything more. That is the Lakshanam. That is the characteristic of this Jnani. He has become a Jnani. by following this karma marga. That is how he has nicely explained it. This shloka refers to the unsteadiness of mind during the practice of karma yoga. That is why shrodhavyasya shrutasya cha. When you come across new knowledge, you may be shaken from your path. There are so many gurus, so many paths, so many books, so many speeches, so many people guiding us, that too in these days of social media. So he says your mind will become unsteady. So that if you have overcome that unsteadiness, shrotavyasya srutasya cha, nirvedam gantasi, then when your mind has become steady in karma yoga, automatically you develop vairagya, detachment. कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः पदं गच्छन्त्यनामयम् यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदम् श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च श्रुतिविप्रतिपन्ना ते यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला समाधावचला बुद्धिः तदा योगम् अवाप्स्यसि. Now he is emphasizing the point by giving further details. यदा निश्चला श्रुति विप्रतिपन्ना स्थास्यति buddhi is the subject. Buddhi is coming in the second line. Yada te buddhihi, when your intellect Nischala sthasyati, unshaken. That is why we said unsteadiness is the thought is referred to in the previous. That is now completed. That thought is completed. Nischala sthasyati, it becomes steady. No unsteadiness. Unsteadiness caused by what? Shruti vipratipanna. What is Shruti vipratipanna? What is Shankara's explanation? अनेक साध्य साधन संबंध प्रकाशन श्रुतिभिः श्रवणैः प्रवृत्ति निवृत्ति लक्षणैः नाना प्रतिपन्ना विक्षिप्ता सती. दिस इज द मीनिंग. अनेक साध्य साधन संबंध प्रकाशन श्रुतिभिः. Shruti can be interpreted as Veda. Here in this context it can be interpreted as anything that you hear, other shastras, other sayings of great people, any margadarshana. Anything. They are all talking about various goals and various methods. Aneka sadhya sadhana sambandha prakashana shrutibihi shravanihi. After hearing all that, pravritti nivritti lakshanaihi, there also they talk about these two groups which we talked about. You be attached to the world, you become detached from the world, jnana and karma. They will talk about both. So you will get more and more confused. Vipratipanna means your mind is confused by various thoughts. By hearing various theories, you get confused. Shruti vipratipanna. Nana pratipanna vikshipta sati. Your mind goes in different directions. At that time, if you don't get distracted, if you maintain your steadiness, nischala sthasyati, samadha achala buddhihi, your mind is steady, then it becomes samadhav. Samadhiyate chittam asmin iti samadhihi atma. Here samadhi is interpreted as atma. That means you are not distracted by various theories connecting you with the universe, connecting you with Brahman, etc. Various people have got various theories. You are not distracted by that. And then you are perfectly concentrated on only Atma. Everything looks like Atma only. That doesn't mean you are not acting with your body, you are not acting with your mind. You are acting. You are in fact going to act more efficiently. He is going to say that. A jnani acts more efficiently. In fact, we are seeing it, isn't it, in our own life. A jnani acts more efficiently than all of us do. So it doesn't mean that you don't act. You act. But your mind is always centered on Atma. That is Samadhi. Samadhi does not mean sitting That is, he is going to explain later. Sitting in a place and closing your eyes and getting into samadhi state, that is different. We are not talking about that here. We are talking about a constant attention to our Atma and not to externals. Externals are mithya. You have confirmed that they are all false, but we will attend to them because we are holding a body. Achala buddhi samadhau. Tada yogam avapsyasi. Then you can say that you have attained yoga. That is the state when you can say you have attained yoga. Tada yogam avapsyasi. Tasmin kale viveka prajnam samadhim prapsyasi. That constant flow of viveka, constant flow of discrimination, constant flow of vairagya will happen. Then you will say samadhim, that because you have constantly attached yourself to Atma, you have detached yourself from the externals, then you can say that is yoga. That is the definition of yoga that you have reached. So now he is sort of giving the path. And what are the obstacles in the path? What are the dangers in the path? All that he has explained, and now he says, you have reached the destination. That is how he is closing this brief introduction to Karma Marga. Shruti vipratipanna yada sthāsyati niṣcala samadhāvacala buddhihi tada yogam avāpsyati. Now, it is time for Arjuna to ask a question. So far, he has not asked any question. Bhagavan went on explaining Atma Jnana, Swadharma, Karma Marga, leading to Jnana, leading to Moksha. He has explained all this in brief, in one sitting. Now, Arjuna is asking a question. Sthitaprajnasya ka bhasha, samadhisthasya keshava, sthitadhi kim prabhasheta, kimathitam brajeta kim. This person who you said samadha vachala buddhi tada yogam avapsyati, his buddhi is constantly attached to Atma, though he is holding a body and attending to various bodily actions, though. This is a bit difficult to understand. You are constantly attached to Atma, but you are doing external activities very efficiently. So he is asking a question. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, sthita prajna, one whose consciousness is ever steady in Atma, one whose consciousness is ever steady in Atma and not in externals. Ka bhasha, how is he described? Tell me more about him. Samadhisthasya Keshava. Oh Keshava, you said he is in Samadhi. Samadha Vachala Buddhi, you said he is in Samadhi. That means permanent state of consciousness getting attached to Atma. No distraction. That is his definition. This is difficult to understand. How can you describe him? Sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita brajeta kim. Sthitadhi means same thing, sthita prajna. He is using a different word. That person whose intellect is ever steady, sthitadhi, kim prabhasheta, what will he speak? First was, how is he described? Now, what will he speak? Kim asita, how will he sit? Vrajeta kim, how will he walk? How will he sit? How will he walk? How will he speak? What does it mean? Does it mean the Sthita Prajna is going to walk in a different manner, speak in a different manner, and sit in a different manner? It doesn't mean that. It means all his bodily actions, how are they different from an ordinary person? Is there any difference, first of all? And how is he conducting those bodily actions? Because he is a Sthita Prajna, in a manner different from ordinary. This is not clear. So that is the question. The Sthita Prajna is a perfected sage, either through Jnana Marga or through Karma Marga. Both are covered here according to Shankara. Jnana Nisthayam Pravrittaha Athava Karma Yogena. So now the following shlokas define, which Bhagavan gives as answer to this question, they define the characteristics of a Sthita Prajna. So this is a beautiful opportunity for Bhagavan to explain the characteristics of a jnani who is ever attached to his Atma Jnana. Now, he is explaining that this Kim Prabhasheta, Kim Asita, Kim Brajeta refer to the states of, so first was when he is in Samadhi, Samadhisthasya. When he is in Samadhi, he has lost contact with the outside world. That can be one explanation. Then how do you describe him? Kim Prabhasheta, when he comes out of the Samadhi, what does he speak? How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? This is avastha-dvayam, according to Madhusudana Saraswati. These are two avasthas, two states. One is the Samadhi state, another is coming out of this. Not necessarily that, but can be one interpretation. Because he is in constant state of Samadhi according to the previous sloka. But he is, Madhusudana Saraswati interprets it as, this also can be interpreted as two states. One is in Samadhi state, another is coming out state. Katham aso paraihi bhashyate ka bhasha. How other people describe him. That is how he is, Shankara is explaining ka bhasha. Arjuna uvacha sthitaprajnasya ka bhasha samajasthasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhasheta kimaseta vrajeta kim. Sri Bhagavan prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthitaprajnastadochyate. What is the definition of sthitaprajna? Sthitaprajnasya ka bhasha. How is he described him? What is his definition? Definition is this. Yada sarvan manogatan kaman prajahati. When all desires which arise in his mind, manogatan kama, all desires which arise in his mind, when he gets rid of them, he kills the desire right at the nascent stage. He doesn't allow the desire to crop up. As soon as it shows up, it gets killed. Sarvan kama, there is no exception to this. All desires. Then having killed the desires, what does he do? Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. Why do you encourage a desire to grow? Because that gives you pleasure, isn't it? Allowing a desire to grow and working for the fruition of the desire gives you pleasure. A man always looks for pleasure, not for pain. For avoiding pain and for cultivating pleasure, I cultivate various desires and allow them to grow and work for fulfillment of those desires. This is basic human tendency. Now, this person, this jnani, does not do that. He does not follow that path. As soon as the desire comes in his mind, he closes that chapter. He kills that desire. But why did the desire come up? It came up for giving him pleasure. Now he has to look for pleasure somewhere else, not from the desire, because it killed the desire. What is his constant source of pleasure? Unending source of pleasure. That is Atma. Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. Atmana means by himself, by his application of own mind, not from any external source. This is most important. A jnani does not look for any prop from outside. That is Atmana eva. Atmani eva Atmana. By himself, by his own mind. How does he, by his own mind, how does he become happy? Atmani eva. Because Atma is the greatest source of happiness. No comparison with all other sources of happiness. This has been repeatedly emphasized in our Shastras. We mentioned once earlier that in Anandavalli, in Taittiriya Upanishad, the Brahmananda is actually measured in various steps, starting with Manushyananda, a king who has all the pleasures at his command. Take his pleasure as one unit. Then you go to Devas. Devas are again two categories according to that mantra. The first category you multiply by 10 That is 10 times this king's Ananda is the first Deva. Then second Deva is 10 times that, and so on. Brihaspati has got unlimited Ananda. Then you go to Brahma. Brahma has got 10, 10, 10, 10 like that many times. All this Ananda of Brahma, right up to Brahma, the highest which you can think of is the Ananda of Brahma. That is nothing compared to the actual Brahmananda. That is how it is concluded. And this actual Brahmananda, has it been experienced by any human person? Yes. That is how the mantra says. A person who has mastered the Vedas, akamaha tasya, same thing. Pradahati yada kama, sarvan partha manogata. Same thing. Akamaha tasya. He has not allowed any desire to crop up. So that person, that Ananda, Upanishad claims this, is many, many times, infinite times, more than all these Anandas which we have covered so far. That is Anandavalli in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So that is what he says here. So Atmani eva Atmana Tushtasa. Tushtaha means satisfied, happy, santushti. You are happy with your own Atma experience, arrived at by your own effort, Atmana, by the application of your own mind. Actually, mind is something which is supposed to be got rid of at a later stage. But initially, you need the mind because we are all used to using the mind only. Mano nasha ultimately has to happen. When will it happen? When mind gets fully absorbed in Atma internally. Then mind gets dissolved as it is. Mano nasha takes place. But till then, you need the mind. That is why Atmana, using your mind, you become satisfied, become happy in Atma only. Then you are called Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna tada uchyate. Yada tada. When? Then. Then only you will be called Sthita Prajna. Because his question was how he will be described by others. That is indirectly a definition of Sthita Prajna. So that question has been answered now. When all desires arising in your mind have been killed right in the budding stage, and you have developed the capacity to become happy, become 100% satisfied by dint of application of your own mind to your own Atma without any external prop. Then you are Sthitaprajna. So here Shankara says, Tyatta putra vitta lokayashanaha. He is explaining it like this. Because kaman, he said, na, sarvan kama. Normal desires are threefold according to Shastra. Putra vitta lokayashanaha. Attachment to the son, attachment to the family. Vitta, attachment to wealth. Then third, lokayashanaha. These are called Ishana Trayam. Three Ishanas. Ishana means attachment. Three attachments. Lokayashana means the world should praise me. Attachment to the world around me. My friends, my people. So, all these three you should completely lose. You should not care even about sustaining your own body. Forget about the external putra vitta lokayashana. Your own body, you should not bother very much. Just to keep your body alive, because that is the duty of a person. You have to keep your body alive till the time comes. So, minimum requirement of the body you fulfill. Do not nourish the body like an ordinary man does. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. Now, Kathopanishad. In fact, this shloka is based on the mantra of Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad, as you know, the teaching of Yama to that young boy who quarreled with his father and went to Yamaloka, Nachiketa. So, where Yama teaches all this Brahma Vidya, he says, Yada sarve pramuchante kama yeste hridi sthitaha athamartyo mrito bhavatyatra brahma samashnute. Hridi sthitaha, hridi shritaha. those desires which have taken a place in your heart, Hridishritaha, those desires which have taken place in your heart, if you get rid of all of them, then Martyaha Amritaha Bhavati. The mortal man becomes immortal. Right here. Atra Brahma Samashnute. Right here, he experiences Brahma. He doesn't have to go to any other place. Sitting in his own home, here on earth, Atra. Martyaha Amritaha Bhavati. The man, mortal man, becomes immortal and enjoys Brahma. Atra Brahma Samashnute. That same thing has been conveyed in different words here. दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते. Further definition of sthita prajna. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha. He is not agitated when a painful situation arises. When a painful situation arises, no agitation. Anudvignamanaha. Sukheshu vigataspraha. When a pleasurable situation arises, he does not long for it. Spraha is longing. More and more of it. Isn't it? Pleasure, we seek more and more. Dukkha, we try to avoid more and more. So all this should be not there. Don't avoid dukkha. Don't look for more pleasure. That means even-mindedness. That is the basic requirement of a jnani. So dukkheshu anudvignamanaha. Now dukkha can be treated threefold. Shankara explains that. All of us know threefold miseries. Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika. Because dukkha can come in from three different sources according to Shastras. Adhyatmika from our own internal system, our own mind. Our own mind gives us pain, isn't it? Painful experiences come from our own mind, from people around us, from our own past experiences, etc., etc. So internally, and our own body is suffering, so that also causes adhyatmika. Adi bhautika is from other living beings, like a serpent injecting poison in your body, Adi bhautika. Adi daivika, from natural causes like earthquake, flood, etc. So these things can happen anytime. Anytime an animal can cause you trouble. Anytime earthquake can happen. Anytime your own system can cause you pain, either bodily or mentally. So this is threefold dukkha. So in all these cases, you should remain equanimous. Sukheshu vigatasprihaha. Vigatasprihaha, he is giving a beautiful example from Shankara. He says, Na agnihi iva indhanadyadhane. When you put fuel into the fire never says, yes, I am satisfied. More and more fuel, you put more and more, it burns, throws up flames. More and more fuel, it consumes. Same way with desires. The moment you accommodate a desire, it is endless amount of desire. So, vigasaspraha, you should detach yourself, develop dispassion from all those desires. Vitaraga bhayakrodhaha. You should get rid of attachment, raga, get rid of fear, bhaya, krodha, anger. These are all enemies for a jnani. Attachment is the first biggest enemy. Second biggest enemy is bhaya, fear of death, fear of bodily illness, fear of anything. No fear. Because if you fear, then you will start developing defense. Any defense other than Atma is not acceptable for a jnani. My greatest defense is with me. Atma. Atma jnana. Bhagavan is sitting inside me. He is going to defend me. Who are you to defend me? What is this external defense? So he is getting rid of his defense. Rid of his bhaya. Krodha. Similarly, anger. Angry for what? Anger for attaining something. Because krodha is defined later on, it's coming here. When a desire is not fulfilled, you get anger. That is how anger is defined. So when desire itself is not encouraged, anger should also not be encouraged. So Veda Raga Bhaya Krodha, you have got rid of attachment, you have got rid of fear, you have got rid of anger. Then your mind is fully under your control, not under any external influence. Then you are called Muni. Muni is Manana Silaha. That means your mind is always under control, always under contemplation of Atma. Then only Manana Silaha means contemplating on Atma. Then only you are called Muni. Sthitatihi Muni Ruchyate. He is called a Muni, and yes, Sthitadhihi, whose intellect is ever steady in Atma. Because you know how to handle Dukkha, you know how to handle Sukha, you have detached yourself from Raga, Bhaya, and Krodha, so your mind is ever steady and you are always in a contemplative mood on Atma. That is the definition of Sthita Prajna. दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः चितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यः सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभम् नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. This Tasya Prajna Pratishthita he is using in two slokas. His consciousness is ever stable. Whose consciousness he is defining? That means, when will you say your consciousness is ever stable? When you fulfill this condition. Well, these conditions are nothing new. They have already been explained in the previous slokas. These are explanatory slokas. Because mind is ever in a flux, constant state of flux for ordinary people. So you never know what your mind will do next minute. Though you are saying Veta Raga Bhaya Krodha, etc. When will that Raga arise? When will that Bhaya arise? When will that Krodha arise? Nobody knows. Because it is the mind. Because you are engaged like an ordinary man in worldly activities. You have not stopped your engagement. You cannot stop your engagement. So the mind is ever in a state of flux and there is a danger from the mind. So you have to be always alert. That is what he is now saying. Yes, sarvatra anabhisneha tattat prapya shubha tattat prapya shubha ashubham. Auspicious and inauspicious things will constantly happen to you. Tattat is prapya. You will keep attaining, getting. You will keep getting auspicious news, you will keep getting inauspicious experience. This will keep happening. Then, yes, sarvatra anadhisneha, you should not develop any attachment to sarvatra under all circumstances. Under all circumstances, no abhisneha, anabhisneha. You are completely देह जीवनादिषु अपि अनभिस्नेहः अभिस्नेहः वर्जितः शंकर देह जीवनादिषु अपि. That is, it is very common that you will have developed already an attachment to your body and to your life, to your body and to your life. Deha jivana adishu api anabhisneha. Even there you have developed a detachment. I don't care for my body. I don't care for my living. Whether I will get my food tomorrow, I don't care. The sannyasi never cares for his body or for. This is the definition of a sannyasi actually. All these are definitions of sannyasis. Not applicable to grihasthas, but you have to know all this so that you have to reach that state at some point or the other. Janaka was able to reach even when he was a grihastha. So there are examples. So that state what you have to reach is what is being explained. So he says, Deha Jivanadishu api anabhisneha. Yes sarvatra anabhisneha tat prapya shubha shubham nadhinandati nadveshti. When he gets shubha and ashubha experiences, Abhinandati, he does not become happy. He does not jump with happiness. Abhinandati. Abhinandati means he jumps with happiness. He does not do that. Similarly, when he gets Ashubha experience, inauspicious experience, not dveshti, he does not hate. By hating, it is not going to run away. So don't develop any hate for your inauspicious experience. Don't develop any pleasure for your auspicious experience. You will be even-minded. It has been mentioned already. Now it is being explained in more clear terms. That is why Shankara brought this explanation of Deha Jivanadishu Api Anabhisneha. So that emphasis is what is mentioned here. Now, Shankara also says, Harsha Vivada Varjitasya Vivekaja Prajna. Tasya Prajna Pratishtita, he says. His consciousness is stable. Harsha Vivada Varjitasya. You are free from pleasure. You are also free from disputation. Because disputation is another problem with humans. We tend to argue, we tend to dispute. As long as you have people around you, experiences coming to you, you will keep arguing, keep disputing. Well, you are wedded to your Atma. You are not wedded to any external. But all other people are wedded to external, so they will come and talk in different language. You have to hold on to your view, so that will lead to disputation, vivada. But don't do that. Don't try to teach Atma Jnana to unfit people. You will only get distracted. So get rid of the disputation. Harsha Vivada Varjitasya Vivekaja, that discrimination, to whom to talk, how to talk, what to talk, whether you should get into a state of happiness or not, you should not get into a state of happiness because of all these disputations. Harsha Vivada Varjitasya Vivekaja Prajna. यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. How to achieve this? What should be achieved has been mentioned. But we are all worldly persons living in the world. World is around us. How to handle the world is telling us greater. Because after all, as we saw, Bhagavad Gita is not just a theory, also practice. You have to set out the goal and you have also to set out the path properly. That's what Bhagavan keeps doing constantly. You can see that. Yada samharate cha ayam. Ayam means this person. Which person? Sthita prajna. That jnani. Yada sarvashaha kurmaha angani iva samharate. Kurmaha angani iva. Like a tortoise withdrawing its organs inside. You can see tortoise keeps organs open when required, when not required, withdraws the organs inside its shell like that. That is the example. Kurmaha angani iva sarvashaha in all states. Kurma doesn't do it all the time. It does sometimes, but you have to do it all the time. Sarvashaha, under all circumstances, you have to withdraw yourself. How? Indriyani indriyarthebhyaha. The kurma withdraws its organs, limbs under certain circumstances. Similarly, what you should withdraw? You should withdraw your indriya, your sense organs. From what? From indriyarthebhyaha, from the vishaya, from the objects. Sense organs, you keep withdrawing from objects. How can you do that? When you're doing a work, you have to see with your eyes. You have to hear. When you're talking to somebody, you have to hear with your ear. When you're talking to somebody, you have to use your tongue for speaking. When you have to touch something during the part of your work, you have to touch. So all these senses, when you have to smell, you have to smell. So all these five organs, sense or senses of hearing, senses of seeing, sense of smell, sense of touch, sense of speech. All these five karmendriyas they are called. All these are constantly engaged in some activity or the other when you are in worldly activity. But he says you withdraw. all these sense organs, you withdraw, samharate, you kill, you withdraw completely all these sense organs from the objects to which these sense organs are directed. That is the indriya artha, the object of direction of the indriya, of the sense organ. From that, you have to detach yourself. But that is a matter of experience. How to do that? How to use the indriya, but don't get attached to the object. But you should do your work also efficiently. This the jnani does, isn't it? A jnani uses his eyes, uses his ears, he talks to us, but he does not get attached. So that detachment, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha, it's a matter of practice. Because this question is going to be asked by Arjuna, and Bhagavan is going to say that you have to practice this. So this is विषयान् अनाहरतः आतुरस्य अपि इन्द्रियाणि संह्रियन्ते न तु तद्विषयः रागः. He is going to say that further in the next shloka. So he says, Jnananishtatma. Ayam means Jnananishtatma, the person who is established in Jnana. Kurmaha bhayat swani angani upasamharati. Why does the tortoise withdraw its limbs? Out of fear. It wants to protect itself. Similarly, you have to withdraw out of fear of being influenced by external objects. So you have to withdraw. Sarva vishayebhyaha upasamharate. From all matters, all objects, you have to withdraw yourself. Yes, sarvatranabhisnehaha tattatprakti subhasubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita yada samharate gayam kūrmāṅgānīva sarvashah indriyāni indriyāktebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्ज्यं रसोऽप्यस्य param drashtva nivartate. When all this happens, it's not, the story is not over. He has not told us how to maintain our detachment even when we are working. He has not told us that. He has told us you have to withdraw. Now he says, even after withdrawing, don't think your test is over. You have not passed the test. So there's one more stage that he is explaining here nicely. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. For a dehi, for a person who is still in his body, for a person who is still in his body, niraharasya, he has stopped giving food to his indriyas. Ahara is food. He has stopped giving food to his indriyas because he has withdrawn all his sense organs from objects. So he is in a nirahara state. Vishaya vinivartante. Then the objects get automatically get withdrawn. They start running away. Vinivartante. The objects automatically stop influencing you. That is the meaning of running away. They don't matter to you anymore because you are in nirahara state. You are not consuming that food. You are not consuming that experience out of that Vishaya. So Vishaya has become meaningless to you. Okay, is this the end of the story? No. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. But you still have the rasam in you. Rasavarjam. Rasam is the taste. The mind still experiences the taste, either good or bad, either pleasant or unpleasant, of the experience which you have got all through crores of janmas, not only this janma. Crores of janmas have left their impressions on your mind. Well, you have trained your mind. You have trained your mind to withdraw from the sense organs, have been withdrawn from the sense objects. That has been done. Even then, the mind is not fully under control. It goes back into old experiences and it goes and tastes. Rasavartyam. Rasam is taste. Rasashabdaha rage prasiddhaha. It is the taste which comes out of attachment, raga. You are attached to your past experiences, either pleasure or pain, mostly pleasure, so that still is there, rasavarjam. Rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Even that rasam, rasopi asya, for this jnani, even that rasa nivartate, it withdraws when param drishtva, after seeing Paramatma, after seeing Paramatma, after seeing the Supreme Atma in your Atma. Paramatma does not mean you start seeing elsewhere from outside your body. No. Paramatma who is residing inside your heart. Having seen him. Seen means what? Having experienced him. He said, Na Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha. Because you are deriving maximum pleasure out of that experience. That is seeing that Param. That this taste is also gone. Because what is taste? Taste is only either a pleasure, mostly pleasure, experience from past experience. Now I am getting the most pleasurable experience by seeing Atma. So naturally my taste for the other is gone. So till that stage, till your Atma experience gives you that happiness, you have to be careful even with regard to the taste for the old experiences. This is the lesson he is teaching us. So he is giving in great detail, Shankara in his Bhashya, Niraharasya, Anakriyamana Vishayasya. That means you have withdrawn yourself from objects. Kashte tapasi sthitasya, murkhasya api vinivartante. When you are sitting in tapas, closing your eyes and, completely immune to externals, then murkhasya api, is Shankara says, even for a fool, Vishaya vinivartante, Vishaya will go away. That's not a great thing. Don't think that you have achieved something great. Even for a fool, when you are sitting in a tapas, state of tapas, they will go away. But even for him, rasa will remain. Vishayeshu ragaha. Saha api rasaha ranjana rupaha sukshmaha. Ranjana rupaha sukshmaha. It gives him pleasure in a very subtle manner. Asya yatehe param paramartha tattvam brahma drishtva upalabhya. After having seen Brahma, paramartha tattva, ahameva tat iti vartamanasya nivartate. So you have to feel that you are that. Ahameva tat. I am that Paramatma. I am not different from that Paramatma. When you develop that experience, this taste will go away. Then you are a real jnani. Nirbijam Vishaya Vijnanam Sampadyate. Afterwards, once you have experienced that, you will remain in that state even when you are doing other activities. That is the meaning. The meaning is, we said Jnani does his activities very efficiently, but he remains in that Atma experience, the very pleasurable experience derived from Atma, then Nirbijam Vishaya Vijnanam Sampadyate. All this external knowledge of objects, they are like Nirbijam, seedless. They die away when a crop is dead. Even when you burn the seeds, similarly they get dead. न असति सम्यक् दर्शने रसस्य उच्छेदः तस्मात् सम्यक् दर्शन आत्मिकायाः प्रज्ञायाः स्थैर्यं कर्तव्यम् इति अभिप्रायः. What is the message? Message is सम्यक् दर्शन आत्मिकायाः प्रज्ञायाः स्थैर्यं कर्तव्यम्. You should develop steadiness in your experience of Atma. Samyak darshana. Samyak darshana means look properly, experience properly. Experience properly your Atma and make it a habit, then make it steady, then only this will happen. This Rasavarjam state will come. Na asati samyak darshane rasasya uchchedaha. When you have done that, rasasya uchchedaha, the rasa, the taste will automatically go away. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rathavargyam rasopyasya param drushtva nivartate. Here he is using the word prasabham, that is forcibly. The taste will come forcibly to you. Prasabham, he is using the word. Shankara in his Bhashya. So you have to be very careful, he says. So we stop with this time now. We take up sloka number 60 in our next session. Next Saturday at 7:30 p.m. evening IST. Any questions? While unmuting, you also make your video available. Then only the conversation will be interesting.
I can spotlight person who has
And speak loudly because sometimes I don't get the voice properly. Use your mic fully.
whoever wants to ask questions, please unmute, and I will spotlight you so that Kannan sir can see you. Any questions, please? Anyone has any questions? I don't
No
think
questions.
no, sir.
Yeah, okay. Subject is tough. So you have to digest it over a period of time. Then only questions will arise. So we close for the day. We meet again next Saturday, 7:30 p.m. IST. नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव सर्वत्र गोविन्द नाम संकीर्तनं गोविन्द गोविन्द श्रीराजराजेश्वर्यै जय जय.
Thank you everyone for joining. See you all next week. Hara Hara Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara. I'm ending the meeting. Thank you.